The largest and one of the dirtiest by many measures oil companies in the world. Well, here with more from the COP28 summit in Dubai is Roeder. He's director of the Consumer Choice Center. Frederick, what was the reaction of other COP28 attendees? Were they upset about this as Gore and Al Jaber? Al Jaber said he's an engineer committed to phase down and phase out of fossil fuels, but he believes summit attendees need to be pragmatic about it. Your thoughts?
There's definitely an awakening of pragmatism at COP28, which should be good news for energy consumers and all of us consumers across the world, because this very ideologically driven, we need to produce less energy and only use solar and wind, seems to fade a bit away, and much more pragmatic solutions are being put on the table. Just this weekend, 22 countries signed a pledge at COP that they're going to triple nuclear power production by 2050. So there is a new kid in town. It's an older kid. It's called nuclear, but it's back at the table, and that might really help us to produce more clean but also affordable energy.
Well, it seems like there's a bit of an awakening here. Less than 4,000 people attended the first Global Climate Summit back in 1995. 70,000 are attending this one, maybe even 80,000 in Dubai. It seems like it's become a big profitable industry. So why do you think so many people are attending?
This COP seems to really also attract a lot of civil society activists, but more those who are pragmatic and really want to see solutions, such as already mentioned nuclear power, and have more private sector involvement in tackling perceived problems around climate change. So I would say this growth of COP is not a problem. Dubai is also extremely nice in December, so maybe some people sneak away for half of the day and enjoy the beach at 90 degrees Fahrenheit right now. So it seems that COP has finally come to a place where average people and their pockets are being taken into account when making big decisions on climate policy across the world.
Yeah, a lot of demonstrators there too from around the world on different subjects. But let's discuss this phasing out of fossil fuels. Now, critics here in the U.S. say the administration's policy has cost jobs. It's moved the United States away from energy independence, and many say we're not there yet with electric vehicles, sustainable energy. So do you agree or disagree?
Technology neutrality should be a core tenet of any policy making. Politicians cannot decide when a technology is right for general adoption, and consumers should choose if they buy a car with an internal combustion engine or a big battery being an electric vehicle. This cannot be phased out or set with certain dates, but it's something consumers need to decide. Technology needs to mature.
But isn't there a way of leading, though, on these issues to move people in a direction where it's better for everyone?
I'm German, as you might be able to hear, and my home country, Germany, has shut down their last nuclear power plants and just started demolishing these power plants. That actually led to an increase of energy derived from coal and more carbon emissions. So these rushed through policies, we need to phase out X by year Y, often have a lot of unintended and negative consequences. The policymakers across the world should be more humble and let, at the end of the day, innovators, engineers, and consumers decide what technologies, what energy sources, and what mix is the right one.
Yeah, the French never did shut down theirs, and look where they are now. So critics
are exporting it to Germany.
Yes. And critics of the climate change activists say many of the leaders of the movement are hypocrites because they preach reducing emissions while jetting their way from the U.S. and Europe to Dubai on private jets. And then the Biden administration considers banning gas stoves. And then you see Kamala Harris posting a Thanksgiving photo on X, which showed her in the kitchen with her husband and a noticeable gas stove seen in the background. So many people respond to these edicts with skepticism when the attitude from the elite is rules for thee, but not for me. What do you think?
Yeah, this cleanse around gas stove bans definitely hit the socially most vulnerable and small businesses, small restaurants. There's always these stories about the private jets and big government jets descending into Davos or the COPs, and that definitely doesn't look good in the optics because these jets are not even fueled with sustainable aviation fuels derived from, palm oil or whatever, but just pure kerosene. So Therefore, it is important to make policies that consumers and average consumers can agree with and their pockets can also pay for. And a lot of these new green policies are just not feasible for the broad public, and that often then leads to election backlash.
Okay, more pragmatism coming out of COP28. Frederick Roeder of the Consumer Choice Center. Thank you, Frederick, for joining us from COP28 in Dubai.
Great pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.